Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast from Pennsylvania. I've got Dr. Mike Neal, and he is a optometrist and also an entrepreneur. He's founder and CEO of Build My Team, and he's gonna talk about why the work that he does, build his team to solve his own struggles with hiring and by modeling how companies such as Disney's and Four Seasons hire. So hiring is a big thing. I struggle with hiring as well, and I'm really happy to have him on and add value to the audience. So, Mike, welcome.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me today, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and talk about your journey and your background, and we'll dive right into it.
Sounds good. I don't know, where would you like me to start? I mean, I was born at a very early age, so
Yeah. So, you were you were an optometrist, and then what led you to build your team and talk about those, and we'll dive into the questions.
oh, terrific. Well, Build My Team never started out to be a company or anything like that. What I did was try to solve the problem that we have in our private practice, the constant merry-go-round of hiring the wrong people. Anybody who's in private practice, oh boy, this has got to be the bane of all of our existence, right? And we were hiring wrong. We were using resumes to hire. We weren't. We were kind of hiring like doctors would. And anyway, took a look at how very successful companies are doing their hiring, the companies that focus on really amazing customer service experiences, and created a system that essentially mirrored what they were doing, but customized it for healthcare. And now Build My Team solves the hiring problem for our clients in over 40 states, including Canada.
Mm, yeah, I love that, and I can, we can probably talk all about our hiring woes, and
Yes.
um, one thing is talking about is what is everybody getting wrong? Why is everybody? Because I was out to lunch with my one of my friends the other day, and he was talking about how he's just like, it's just kind of turnover. It's like you get C people or really crappy people, you have to fire them, and like the top people, they just go and start their own thing and do their own thing. So what are people getting wrong here?
Well, it's not just one magic bullet, but I would say the most important thing is that hiring people in private practice using resumes is a really, really tough thing to do. The reason being, resumes don't tell you what they're good at. They just give you a
Yeah.
work history that most of the time is full of crap anyway. So, um, but the reason docs do it is they don't really have an alternative. And so the approach we created was we determined through an automated process what the candidate's natural strengths and talents are. And what the heck does that mean in English? Well, it means we figure out what they're good at, like really, really good at. And
Yeah.
then our software will match the people who have the natural, who are really good at what we're hiring for.
Yeah.
And what that essentially creates is an incredibly tight fit for the position that you're hiring for. And it's it's a it's a really reliable way to get A players and B plus players on your team. And the most important thing is it rejects the C and the D players. They don't come anywhere close to your practice.
Yeah.
Bye bye. They're not even they're out of the process.
Mm, yeah. Uh, one of the challenges is what I was talking with my colleague, and one thing is like, let's say you have someone with like a good work ethic,
Yep.
good integrity, but they just like their skills are not up to level. What do you do with those individuals?
We take it kind of a step further on that
Yeah.
whole concept. We're not hiring based on experience.
Mm,
We're hiring only on their natural skills and talents, their speed of learning, and the fit to the position. So that approach is a little different than what a lot of listeners are used to hearing. But when you bring somebody in who has those natural strengths and talents, who learns very, very quickly, they they can become an incredibly effective member of your team very, very quickly. And
mm,
that's the whole point. This is what we're able to do reliably for our clients.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. There's so many different books about hiring, and so
Yeah.
the other question I have for you is the other problem is, let's say you just can't find any good candidates, like just like that you
Yeah.
have a open positions, but it's like nobody fits the bill. And so, what do you do then? Do you fill it or you leave it empty? And we'll talk about that conundrum.
Yeah, it's a real conundrum for practices. The way we solve that is we treat the hiring process as a massive funnel, big, big, big funnel. We want as many people poured into the top of the funnel as possible because our process removes about 97% of them. Almost everybody is removed. And we do that by publishing the job. We write the job description to get the type of people we want for our clients. We publish it to over 20 different job boards. Nobody does that. Why 20 different job boards? Because we need as many people as possible being poured into the top of this hiring funnel. And then through the automated process, as they go through each step, and this takes about 10, 15 minutes for a candidate, as they go through those steps, the ones that aren't a good fit for the position are removed from the process. And so from for the listeners out there who can't find good people, I would say you're looking in the wrong spots. For example, any of the dentists listening, hygienists, the absolute bane of their existence, right? When COVID was happening, we had hygienists who were jumping around from one practice to another for 25 cents an hour more. Plus, a whole bunch of them just left the workforce. It was brutal, absolutely brutal. And that, to a lesser extent, happened in almost all the healthcare practices. So, what we did for our clients in that point is we stopped looking at where they were normally being hired from, and we brought in people and we trained them. Like the practices trained them. Did it take a little bit longer? Arguably, maybe, but they got the positions filled. And these are great people. These are people that were supremely happy for the opportunity. They love what they do. Your practice gave them a leg up, and all of a sudden, you have something called loyalty. It's spectacular.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, and then follow-up question was because I was listening to when you mentioned funnels and there was when you're talking about investments, you have funnels, and then what was interesting is you talked about automation and just kind of using
Yeah.
uh software processes to kind of
Yeah.
eliminate, and then you do the human decision. Where does in this day and age of AI, how are you thinking
Mhm.
about AI in the hiring decision-making process?
Well, our software gets the decision to the point of a thumbs up. That's when our team takes over, believe it or not. I should say, they start out with writing the job description. We publish it through our automation, and then we sit back and wait for the thumbs up to come on our software. And when we get a thumbs up, and that's literally how it works, we get a thumbs up, we send those finalist candidates a video interview.
Mhm,
And that allows us to compare a real world human interaction with how they essentially look, air quotes, on paper.
mhm,
Um,
yeah,
what that allows us to do is, in an automated way, have the best of both worlds. So we have the automation system, and then we have the human system. And when we're looking at the video interviews, we don't care what they look like. We don't care if they're black, white, green, pink. It doesn't matter. What we only care about is how they're going to represent your practice or your small business.
mhm,
This isn't limited to practices. It could be like front desk people, secretarial people, clerical people, any of those types of positions. That's
yeah.
what we do best.
Okay. And, with, because the AI now is, really good at, doing
Mhm.
these kind of clerical, um, very, routine, systematic tasks, do you
Mhm.
see AI you implementing AI software in place of, assistants or, secretaries or, those types of, positions?
For some, there's some benefit, but not so much replacing, but as an aid to the team member. The thing is with healthcare, it's an in-person business. I mean, we provide a service, and almost there are some exceptions to this, of course. Counseling, mental health, those folks are doing great over Zoom, etc. But for like eye care, for dentists, you're not going to go to a virtual dentist anytime soon. Like, how's that going to work, right?
Mhm.
Um, Eye care, you need the same thing. Your eyes hurting, it's about to fall out of your head. You're not going to hop on a Zoom. Like, you need a microscope. You need 40 times Zoom power sometimes. You see what I mean? So the from the administrative standpoint, people are walking in the front doors to these practices. Do they want to look at a kiosk? I don't know. Do they want to have a friendly, smiling face, say hi, how you doing, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones? Yes, they do. That's the type of solution that we can provide, is a terrific team member sitting right in your office that can't wait to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting because I was in, Quest Diagnostics where they draw
Mhm.
labs, and basically there's, you go into this empty room, and, you just have to
Yeah.
it's very complicated, and you have to and it's basically a kiosk to sign in and
Yep.
register, but if you don't know how to do that, you're SOL, so,
Right.
um
Yeah, you
um,
just stand there in perpetuity until, I don't know, somebody from the waiting room comes over to help you.
yeah. Yeah. With build my team, talking about what changes have you seen, and what are the results of hiring based on assessment versus resumes and prior experience?
So the easy one is prior experience in a non-licensed position is a red flag in our system.
Hmm,
Doesn't
wow.
mean that it's always the case. It means that one of our team members reviews things and looks, because you can have an amazing person who has experience in what you're hiring for. That is very rare.
Mhm,
What the more likely issue is that they're not good at their position. That's why they left the previous, or were helped out, or fired, or whatever have you.
mhm,
Um, so that's a bit of a challenge. We have categorically proven that for unlicensed positions, you're better off to hire somebody who's never heard of it
mhm,
before, as a
mhm,
fresh start. You train them very quickly, because remember, we're measuring how fast they learn. So they learn very quickly. And then they're off to the races in a short period of time, usually 2 weeks or faster. But compare that to somebody with experience. Well, okay, Susie or Jimmy or whomever it is, I know you did it this way or that way at Dr. Jones's practice. We don't do it like that. And you really have to stop doing that because you're making mistakes. Well, it's a conversation we never have to have with the Build My Team uh, folks, because they have no idea about the other practice. They're just learning the right way to do it. You
mhm,
don't have to undo bad habits in that model. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get people who can learn that quickly, you don't go back.
mhm.
So that's a specific answer to that part of the question. What else did you ask me that I forgot about already?
Oh, well, a follow-up is, if we have doctors and clinicians, lawyers, dentists listening to this and like, yeah, I want to check out, build my team. And so walk us through the process. Like, what do you do? How much does it cost, etc.?
Mhm. Okay. So very easy. You go to buildmyteam.com. At the top of the page, or schedule a consult. We like to have a phone discussion with folks for a couple reasons. One, we have to learn all about your practice. We need to learn what positions you're hiring for. And a lot of times docs want to hire somebody to do 5, 6, 10 things. It doesn't work like that anymore. But we do want somebody who's going to be outstanding at your primary requirement, and also be able to do the secondary and tertiary when it gets a little slow. So, which always there's always downtime in healthcare. So that's number one. Then we write the job description for the practice. We publish it to those 20 different job boards, and then we wait for the candidates to come in. It doesn't take long. The candidates will apply in the middle of the night. They'll apply all like on weekends. It gives your practice a colossal advantage over practices that don't have this system. You're going to get the better candidates because they love that you are so picky about who you're hiring.
Mm,
So as I mentioned earlier, as the great team people come through, we send them a video interview. Our team reviews that, and then as soon as we find somebody who's going to do a a job in your practice, I mean, we're 97% certain they can do the job by the time we send them over to our clients. This isn't a matter of maybe. We already know they can do the job. What you get to do is just pick whom you think would work best for your practice,
mm,
and that's done via what we call our insight report. It's a PDF that we send with each client. That gives you a tremendous amount of information about what they're good at, what their natural strengths and talents are. So I can give some examples on that. Let's say, well, do you use a scribe at all?
I use Otter AI, Scribe
Mhm.
now. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's the AI version of it. Human scribes as well, especially on the dentistry. I mean, eye care, notorious for that. Um, and we have people who, in an interview, will always claim that they can follow process. Yes, 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 yes. Right. Well, everybody's going to tell you what you want to hear in an interview. This is ridiculous. What our
Yeah.
insight report does is it shows the practice owner or the practice manager exactly what they're good at. Another thing is stress tolerance. In some practices, it's huge. It's mandatory, or else the person leaves in 2 weeks. With our approach, we measure all that stuff. We have oodles and oodles of these measurements about the candidates, and that's what makes the fit so tight. That's why they stay so much longer. Our statistic right now is that we retain 94% of the people we place in the positions within 6 months.
Mhm,
It's a complete game changer versus what the revolving door that we're all used to. And that's kind of the approach we take for our clients. As far as cost goes, it is not expensive. It's not tied in any way to how much they make. um, we are also looking at things like how far away they are from the practice. We have a whole bunch of questions that just make it incredibly more likely that the people we send over stick to your practice.
mhm,
So we have two models that we work with our clients. One is just a one-time hire where they want to hire one person for the practice. And then we also have what we call a membership model where there's a very small monthly fee and a much lower price. And that's for practices that want to essentially us to take over their hiring for them.
mhm. Yeah. Fascinating. Yeah, it's really interesting. And so if people listening to this, they wanted to
Yeah.
reach out to you and connect with you and learn from you, how could they do that?
Easy. Buildmyteam.com. Just go to the top of the page, schedule a consult. It's all scheduled. So it's around your practice. Almost all folks schedule around their clinical time, and just be honest, let the skeletons out. We've heard it all, and the reason I jokingly say that is that it really helps us figure out exactly who you need, like the exact type of person you need to be super successful in your practice.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks so much for coming on and
Thanks, Chris.
enlightening us, and keep up the great work.
Oh, thanks so much. Great talking with you today.